All right, we are back with the at the Ripke Studio guest musician feature. My first question for the second segment, Andy, is: do you have any Goldie Hawn stories?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Goldie Hawn. Uh, my first Goldie Hawn story is my wife's a big fan of the movie Overboard. With I believe Kurt Russell's in that too,
I
right?
think that's when they hooked up.
Her would-be husband and now husband.
Yep.
Let's see, what other Goldie Hawn stories do I have? I used to watch Laugh-In on Nick at Night reruns.
Okay, I'm glad you said Nick at Night reruns.
Yeah, not the original. But what a babe, you know.
Okay.
And those like 60s go-go outfits. Whew.
Yep, I'll put one of those up here or here. I don't know. Maybe both. All right. Of course, that's a joke. I asked that because John had such a great Goldie Hawn story. He told me one night after I knew him for years, he just blasted the story out. Goldie Hawn kicked him out of their house. Like, you never told me that story before.
This was the Kurt Russell house as well, like when they were
together?
Okay.
Because he walked.
It would have to be with.
He saw picture frames and he thought they were just like they'd left the one from the store in there in the frame and they didn't put their picture in it yet. But I was like, no, that must be their house.
That's really them.
Okay, so guitarists tend to like their music gear. I'll probably have some guitarists listening in. So do you have a favorite piece of music gear right now, or a cool piece of music gear, new piece of music gear, anything, a pedal?
God, it's ridiculous. I am like a total gearhead. So yeah. I am like, I'm never satisfied with the guitar rig. I'm always changing it, swapping stuff out, not because I'm unhappy, but just because I just like to experiment.
Yep.
So yeah, I have probably 30, 40 guitar pedals right now that I rotate through a couple of different boards. And I just got a pedal about a week ago made by Robert Keeley, who is an incredible maker of guitar pedals. Yep. Most people know his compression pedals and stuff like that, but it's called a Keeley Echoes. Mm-hmm. And it's it models analog tape delay. So like the actual tape, reel-to-reel tape units that they originally used in the, I guess, 70s to get all those like Pink Floyd kind of modulated delays where it doesn't sound perfect like a digital delay, but it starts to distort or modulate a little bit in the repeats. This thing's awesome. So I've been doing that a lot.
I don't have a good delay pedal right now. I'm using a multi-board just for convenience, but the delay I'm not happy with it. So maybe I'll check that one out.
Yeah, I've actually gotten the habit of putting multiple delays on my board so I can set a tempo on one and then set another tempo that's like a dotted eighth where they kind of ping pong off of each other.
Oh, that's cool.
It's super fun just to mess with.
Now, are you running two speakers then?
Nope. Good. Not actually stereoed, but just like when you get the rhythm with two different delays at the same time, you can do some really cool stuff. You can also sound like the Edge if you want to.
Yeah, he definitely uses the delay. Yeah. You're making some amp cabinets and amps, aren't you?
For a while, I got into building speaker cabinets. So I built 3 different speaker cabinets. Haven't actually tried to construct an amp yet. I'm too scared of messing with tubes and killing myself.
Yeah.
But I built a 210, a 112, and a 110 speaker cabinet.
Yeah, well, I know the cabinets are there in some of your videos, or most of them, right? You can see them in there, the recent ones, and they got some pretty cool grill or covers on them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things I thought it would be cool to customize that part of it. So it's just buying different types of fabric and stretching it over the frame.
Yeah. So I'm as you're saying that, I'm sitting in a room and I'm looking at surrounded by gear and instruments. You can see the guitars behind me.
Yeah, it's an addiction, I mean, but there's so much cool stuff out there.
Yeah. That's one thing, as I've gone into it, where you play music, you play the guitar or whatever, and then you start learning about all these other things like software, if you learn recording, or electronics if you're learning gear and all this, the signal paths and all that. So there's never, you'll never run out of things to learn.
I think when it gets down to it, it's just like, if you have gear that can inspire creativity in some way, then like that's how to use it.
Yeah.
You know, you try to avoid it just becoming a crutch, you know, for the sound effects or whatever, but actually get something. If it gets you to play more,
Yes.
then, you know, that's a great thing. So
Oh, and I've seen that all the time with myself and students. Like I find a new effect, or I get a new effect unit, and I'll sit and play for 6 hours just enjoying sound.
right.
It might not even be a song. I'm just enjoying the sound of that it's making. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
So can you tell me some of your main musical influences?
Well, I would say that I kind of I grew up in a pretty musical family. So we did, you know, my family had season tickets to the local opera house, which put on musicals all summer long. So, you know, I've probably seen every single musical in existence during my childhood. And I think that probably like definitely, you know, shook some things up in my brain. So like that's part of it. But then, you know, we're always singing silly songs amongst the family and stuff like that. My brother was you know, he majored in music and became a orchestra instructor and music teacher, and so it's just, you know, we have a pretty musical family. So I would say that was a pretty big influence on me. And then, you know, I got into rock and listened to mainly like rock music when I was a teenager and stuff like that, and then started to getting a little bit more into like the jam band kind of crowd, like mostly through Fish and the Grateful Dead. And once you get into that, then I think you start to discover all these other genres, because those bands tend to really like mix in, and not, you know, it's not a blues band playing only blues. It's a band that can play blues and funk and bluegrass and country and all these other styles. And I think that kind of got me to expand my horizons. So
yeah,
kind of went from there.
Yeah. I'm more interested in music that does that too. I love blues, but if it's after like 4 or 5 songs, it wears on me a little bit if it's too much the same.
Yeah.
Now there's like Stevie Ray Vaughan. He could probably play for 12 hours and just still amaze me, but not anymore, but he could back in the day. In fact, I did see him play. Can you describe the perfect bandmate?
Perfect bandmate, you know, I think is on the musical end of things, I think it's someone that that is supportive in the way that they're listening and not just out there playing. So and then I think the experience in the bands that I've been in is that I've been friends with the people in the band. It's always about almost like friendship first and then the band second. And when that happens, like you're just in a good place.
Yeah.
So if you have that type of relationship where it's more than just the band dynamic, then I think that's usually a recipe for success, or at least for enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's really my thing. I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm not a professional musician in the sense where I'm like trying to make a living out of it. It's really about having fun and trying to do something creative. So yeah, anyone that I can do that with is the ideal bandmate. Yeah.
And the audiences can tell, like when people are having fun and they know it's a good group of folks that get along together, that energy definitely carries out. Speaking of that, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to listen to this awesome live performance featuring Mr. Andy Bennis.
All right.
Sweet Sassy Molasses. case, I'm gonna get my Philly Cleveland tonight. Oh yeah, I headed out of case, I'm gonna get my Philly Cleveland, alright. At the risk of being crude, strive to elevate my mood in a place that's much more free on the shores of Lake Erie. Well, I headed out early on the boat off Old Luna Pier. We were fishing up early on a boat off Old Luna Pier. At the risk of blasphemy, goddamn walleye rose up from the sea, and they jumped into my boat, just like the scripture pages told. Mr. Dan Ripke on the guitar over there, give him a hand. A Mercury, come fill my soul. I ain't gonna swim in you no more. Mercury, come fill my soul. I ain't gonna swim in you no more. Ain't gonna swim in you no more. A Mercury, come fill my soul. Ain't gonna swim in you no more. I said I ain't gonna swim in you no more. Ain't gonna swim in you no more. Oh, Mercury, come fill my soul. Ain't gonna swim in you no more. I said I ain't gonna swim in you no more. No more. No more. No more. Three smokestacks in my throat, so ain't gonna swim in you no more. Fucking zebra mussels plague my shore. Ain't gonna swim in you no more. All the politicians they just ignore. Ain't gonna swim in you no more. Oh, Lake Erie, tell me what for. Ain't gonna swim in you no more. Well, it's back to Ypsilanti by way of the Erie Canal. Oh yeah, we're headed back to Ypsi by way of the Erie Canal. At the risk of sinking the ship, I'll tie down my loose lips, and we'll anchor them to this song. Let the message ripple on. Sweet Sassy Molasses.